Reality page. And we're live. Welcome to today's podcast where we're going to talk about this season's Big Brother and why it's important to us. As we know, a live reality game player, Claire, is on this season's cast. I'm Susan. I'm big in the LRG world. I won Kirk and Dustin's Survivor Kokopelli, and a lot of you know me from the online games. Guys, take a minute and introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are. Go ahead, TJ.
All right. For those who don't know me, I'm TJ. You guys might be, if you're watching, I'm currently on Survivor New York. I also helped JT host our first season of Doubt Live, and I'm also in the org world as well.
You want me to go next?
Yes, please.
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, good. Well, my name is JT. For you guys that don't know me, I am the creator and host of Doubt Live, the live version of the hit online reality game that mixes all of your favorite reality shows into one big, huge mind freak of a game. And we had the wonderful Claire play this very first inaugural season of Doubt Live, and she did a fantastic job. And so I'm glad to be able to talk about her and the rest of this fantastic cast. Oh, and
Go ahead, Bossy.
Okay, I'm Bossy, and I did a few orgs for Aunt Jackie's. I did a couple for, I don't know if y'all know the little Matt Hunt or whatever. I did a couple orgs for him, and I did like Mayhem Manor and stuff like that. And Dustin asked me to do this, so I'm here.
And last but not least, Alex. Alex and I did this last year as a recap, as a game assessment as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, hi everybody. I feel so honored to be here, surrounded by all these LRG legends, and I've heard a lot about you guys. So it's really good to be here. I'm Alex Johnson. I'm the host of Survivor Colorado, as well as Big Brother Colorado, as well as the Amazing Race Colorado, all the Colorado competitions. And so I love reality TV. I'm here to talk about this game. It's awesome. This cast is amazing. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, I will share my screen and we can jump right into the contestants. I'm sure everybody's up to date on who's who. I know I've been watching everything I can and reading everything I can about their answers to things. I'm sure everybody here has already had a few favorites. If anybody wants to jump in and talk about their favorites, and if JT and TJ, when talking about their favorites, could let us know how Claire would fare against them. As you know, these two just hosted Claire in a live reality game.
JT, you're muted.
There we go. So yeah, we did just host Claire in Doubt Live. She was juror number 1. But the very cool thing was that she kicked behind. Can I cuss, Susan?
Let's say butt for now.
Okay. She kicked butt in the Big Brother round of Doubt Live. She was put on the block, and she was able to get the vote flipped because she was the target at the very beginning. She was able to get the vote flipped and was able to make it through the round, and she only had about 9 minutes to do it. So give her 9 hours to do it, and I'm sure that she can really make some magic happen.
For users that don't know, Christy was removed for the game for testing positive for COVID. So that's her picture still up there, but Claire was an alternate. So she is in her spot.
TJ,
So
what do you have to say
About Claire?
Yeah.
So Claire's really awesome. I mean, the fact that she, got being behind the scenes, you get to talk with the players, obviously more so, which is awesome, and kind of see everything going on. The fact that she's an AI, I think it's an AI engineer, girl like writes code and stuff. Like, so she is fire when it comes to strategy. She was always moving, and it's funny because she played it off, if I remember correctly, almost like, "Hey guys, I've really never done an LRG. You know, I'm like not really that much of a Survivor fan, or this or that." Meanwhile, she's like a Survivor super fan. Like, she played off really well. People played along with it. She was a threat early, and JT can kind of like, people were already kind of talking about her early on, and she made it all the way to, I think she was a merge vote, right, JT?
Yeah, she was juror number 1.
Yeah, and that round was a big twist round with this whole math thing that JT does. Honestly, if that hadn't come in, I think she makes it farther with that threat level. So I think, like JT said, the fact that this was such a fast-paced game, you give her more time to really kind of build those relationships, get to know people. I think she's going to do great, to be honest, as long as she doesn't get too far ahead of herself.
Sounds good. Good. Who are some of your favorite players so far that you can see in this cast? That's questions for you and Bossy.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, so off the bat, just by looking at them, just knowing where they're from Maryland, not necessarily where I'm from in Maryland, but they're from Maryland. So I'm gonna say Ozzy and Derek. I like them already just because of that. Derek X. I like the other Derek because he seems like he's going to be funny. And I like this Whitney girl only because she seems like she might be like a dumb blonde girl, but she seems like she's really smart. Like, she got 2 kids. It seems like she got her head on her shoulders for real. Just like seems like she's going to come across dumb, and I think that might work for her.
Alex?
Yeah, so obviously, I think my favorite is Claire, specifically because she's out there representing the LRG world. I mean, that's just living proof that LRG goes hand in hand with the big leagues. You know what I'm talking about? So that's great. Love it. Other favorites of mine, Derek F. I've actually seen a couple TikToks of him. He's a funny guy. I've heard of him. So I'm glad that he's on the cast. Christian, you know, I'm gonna just say, going off first impressions, Christian looks like Jon Snow, and you know what? I think Winner is coming in the Big Brother house, and I think he's gonna bring it.
Okay. Those are good, all good reasons. Have you guys read any of the interviews and stuff? I noticed the common thing between them all is they're all saying they want to be very social. A lot of these players named Derek and Cody as their favorite duo. I don't know, you guys don't know me. I'm a fan of the villain. I like the flashy gameplay. Right now, I don't know if you pronounce her name right, Azaya. I like her and Alyssa because they both want to win the first HOH. They seem to want no showmance, no friends, and to play it out. But that's just my 2 picks right now. Plus, go girls, girl power, and obviously Claire representing the LRG community. What do you think about the social? Do you guys like the more social Cody Derek game, or would you prefer some more drama this season? Obviously, good drama, game-related drama. We don't want anything that's come in the past with these seasons, and I don't think we'll get that this season with this cast.
Yeah, I think the thing that is going to be very interesting this season is that all of these people were outside of the house when CBS announced its casting, its new direction for casting going into Survivor and Big Brother. So I think when that's going to come, like, whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, that's definitely going to play a part in how people play this game. I know in the org community, it plays a part in how people play orgs, clearly. And so I really think that for the first time, we're going to see that type of thing happening in the Big Brother house where there's actually enough people in the game to have a POC alliance that might actually work. And that's not like 4 people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's definitely going to come into it when it comes to the social gameplay. But I'm I'm personally like, I like a player that's like me, someone that is very social, boisterous, makes friends, can relate to people, but also has a strategic mindset. And then just depends on what the movement is for that week on which one of those you bring to the forefront. Because sometimes you got to cut somebody off and let them go, but you got to make them feel good while you do it.
Out of the interviewers, only one of them, it was Sarah, that said that she is just here to float through the game.
Oh, yes.
Opinions on that, fellas?
Really?
Well, I think that it's like there's a difference between floating and coasting. And if she's like actually playing a floater game and she floats to where the power is and still has control of information and still, does like the double agent kind of thing, that's cool. But if she's going to
she doesn't know that's a team twist. So
that's true.
I don't think she's going to be able to float at all.
Team twist. How do you guys feel about this team twist?
I like
it's
it.
nothing really new. We've had coaches, we've had groupings of nerds, athletes, and stuff like that. But this time, the player, I believe, who's the head of that team, gets to pick their players.
I like it because
I don't know if there's competition. I just know that 3 of them.
It's a competition.
Oh, okay.
They're going to do the competition tonight. I heard and during the moving like they did on All Stars, they're going to come in like that and like compete in teams of 4.
Oh, yeah, I purposely have not read Twist spoilers on purpose. So thanks, guys.
That was the spoiler that came out on ET.
I know.
Yeah, CBS released that. Do you think twists like that are beneficial for people or not?
I would say that I think that the twist, like the team twist, I think it's really gonna put groups of people together early on, which could be a good thing and it could also be a bad thing. Because as we saw last season, there was a very big group very early on, and that carried everybody to the finale night, right?
Well, that was Claire's statement in her interview. She said her goal is to get rid of the strong alpha dudes. And I'm not that I'm anti-man, but I really hope she can do that because although I do like Derek F., Xavier, Travis, all beautiful to look at, Brent, I'm sure very nice people, I personally am tired of the alpha male getting to the end by batting their eyes.
I think the trick to that, though, which I think that she realizes, is that it's not just like having to be like anti-man. You just have to be pro-woman. And I think that there's a huge difference between those two things,
Do you think we can...
My internet had acted up.
Go ahead, Bossy. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. My internet had acted up if I had disappeared for a second.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. We're talking about the representation of race this season. What about the representation of age for this cast?
I think go ahead.
It's good because I think it's good because the people that's old this season don't look old to me. Like they don't look that old and they look like they can still compete. So I like that. I don't think they would be like the first boot this time. Just just off of the first impressions. Like I don't think anyone would look at them like, oh, they're the oldest because they look like they can get down with everybody else.
I agree with that this season. I like that they cast Tiffany. I feel like she's going to do better than people of my age usually do in these games.
I think so the average age in the house is 27, like 0.75 or something like that. And the average winner of Big Brother is 26. So from all the seasons. So I think that like everyone, like there's no one that's really like out of the, if we're looking at age statistics, there's no one that's like too far away from that. I think that out of everyone, I think Frenchie and Hannah probably have the biggest battles, being the oldest and the youngest, and the fact that they're the farthest away. He's 34, Hannah's 21.
Tiffany's 40 though.
Yeah, Tiffany's 40.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Tiffany is 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that they probably have like the highest chances of being on the receiving end of a, I don't want to say ageist, but being on the receiving end of a age-worthy block putting on of, I don't know how to say it without saying it.
I mean, I think the thing with,
It's okay.
I think the thing with Hannah though, which I like because she's one of mine to watch, is as long as she, I don't want to say doesn't act her age, but I think that as well, she seems just in her answers when I read some of the interviews, like she seems like mature. She has a very similar mentality to like Azah and Claire and them, that she might not. I think if anything, Frenchie definitely might have more of a, more of the older age gap as opposed to the younger age gap that might have an issue, because a lot of them are like 22, 24, 27, 28. So in that 20 range.
Mhm.
Whereas I think like Bossy said, like, I think, I like Tiffany that she's there. She doesn't seem like I mean, look, JT, you just didn't even realize that she was 40. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Exactly. I totally forgot.
Whereas I feel like Frenchie, just because of his occupation, he's from Tennessee, like that's more, he might have more of a problem kind of acclimating. But
He does come across a little more cold, and like looking at this cast, it seems like they all might be really social this time.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes off a little cold in the interview, so you might be right with that.
You think the coldness could be shyness? As you just said, his occupation is a farmer. He's not used to the hustle and bustle, perhaps. I mean, does your occupation give you a benefit or maybe can keep you back in a way when you're playing these games? I mean, personally, I like that Brittany, I believe, is a kindergarten teacher. And I think people with that type of patience, I mean, I work with little kids, and basically when you're crazy in the house, you've got to learn to focus and get it together. So could you see that he's a farmer, like not used to it?
I think like when I look at Frenchie, I look at like, what if like Cornbread from OTT and like Matt Klein like tried to become one person, but like the like the blockage of like what that would be, I feel like Frenchie would be like that block. Does that make sense? You guys see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, because I feel like he wants to be very like social and funny and boisterous and use some choice words every once in a while, but I also feel like he's kind of like just chilling, eating his cereal in the kitchen every morning while Raven lies to him. And I don't know. I feel like he's somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think Frenchie, he definitely has a little bit. I think what CBS did when they cast him is they were looking for kind of, oh shoot, I forget the guy's name, but a couple years ago they had like a kind of farmer type character on the show.
Donnie?
I think so. Yeah, Donnie. That's him.
Yeah.
I think they were kind of going for that type with Frenchie. And so I think that could work to his advantage. He could come into the house and be like, I'm just here to have fun. I'm just the, fun-loving farmer guy out here. And he's just going to kind of intermingle with the group there. And I think it could work out in his favor.
So Azaya made in one of her comments that she's not here for no showmance or romance. What do you think is going to happen this season? I mean, personally, I don't watch for the showmances. Again, like TJ said a little while ago, this isn't Love Island. I want to see gameplay and strategy. Do you think with the differences this season that's going to be less likely to happen, more likely to happen with who? Like because of the age, like I'm thinking Hannah and Travis because one's 21 and one's 22, and they're cute, they're young. I mean, I see them automatically maybe clinging to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind showmances as long as they're done right. Like I like Rachel and Brendan going against the house. Like as long as it's like back and forth, not just the showmance running things or something like that, or just the showmance doing nothing. Other than that, I don't really mind them unless they're done right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I have like this weird suspicion, like feeling that like Alyssa like seems like the type of player to like just rope one of these boys in and like lay in his HOH room with him and like make sure that they're showering next to each other, but then be in the DR like, I can't wait to put this guy on the block.
You know, one of her interviews, Alyssa did state that she really wants to win the first HOH because she feels that would be the most powerful HOH and how she would make that work to her advantage for the entire game. And usually people don't say that. So I thought that was pretty interesting that you said it connects like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like when you win the first HOH, like people are flocking to you. So you have the power to automatically, like if you win the first HOH, like you know you're going into week 2 in an alliance of some sort. Yes. And it's the first week.
Claire were the only ones wanting to win. Everybody else's theory was to be social and not win and, you know, be kept off the block.
Yeah.
Which in a cast of 16, you only got 2 trying to win.
Well, I mean, when you win that first HOH, it's kind of a pro and con. It's like a double-edged sword almost, you know, because on one side you have the power to put people in place in the game right off the bat. So that instantly draws battle lines right there. But the con is you win the first one, you're target number 1 week 2, right? So still,
I think week 3, depending on how you feel, I think week 3 is when you want to start winning, hypothetically. You don't want to win too soon, and I really honestly hope Claire does not win week 1. Because I feel like you guys said, like you already like week 2 a target because somebody's staying. Depending on who you put up, you know, maybe they're going to win the next one, and then you're vulnerable and you have to worry about veto. But I think that you need to build those kind of social bonds because by like week, you know, the second or third HOH, you kind of know where people are starting to lie. And that's when you kind of want to start to kind of, you know, make those moves, not big flashy things where it can get you out, you know, the following week. But I feel like that's kind of like that, you know, that breaking point where things start to meld together a little bit.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the guy Travis said something like that in one of his interviews. Like he was like he didn't want to come across like, you know, the big strong guy, so he was going to try not to win the first couple of HOHs.
Yeah, I think when you win the first HOH, it like sets you up as a certain type of player, like Alex was saying. And I think so. Like if we think back to people that were the first HOH that won the game, like I immediately think Lisa, Hayden, Rachel, Cody, and I think that may be it, right? Off the top of my head,
the guy from what was his name? The winner of last season, Cody.
Yeah,
that was Cody. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so like, and if you think at like those 4 players' play styles in the game, like winning that first HOH kind of really shaped how they played the game. So I think that if Alyssa does win this first HOH, that she definitely is going to have to kind of like navigate the game in a certain way, you know?
I'd agree.
It's like once you do it, you can't go back from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once you have that target as well as that power, you can't really go back on that and try to play a quiet game.
And I feel like if you're building those social connections early and really focusing on that, you don't have to win all the time. Whereas if you win the first HOH and then, you know, you're kind of going with that, you're said, oh, wow, they won a comp. That might be the only one you win, but they won a comp. That will stick in people's minds. And if you do well, they're going to watch you. If you do well in other comps, then now you've got that comp beast kind of persona, even if you might not be, you know, and you don't necessarily want that because then your back's against the wall sooner or later.
Right.
Especially when you look the part and Alyssa looks the part. Like, she looks like she can compete.
See, but I appreciate that more in games. I mean, you have, like I said, in this cast of 16, 14 of them said they don't want to win. They want to lay back. So you've got 14 people being social. And, I mean, at 14, you can be so social. I mean, you have to win something. You have to, like, even if it puts a mark on your back, for me, in the end, if I was jury, I'm going to vote for somebody who showed they wanted to be there, won things, did things, put the target on their back versus someone like a former winner like Derek that I feel just kind of was there and lucked out. And I'm glad he didn't get nommed, but I don't think that's a a point in my system. But like to each their own. I mean, every juror and person's allowed their own thought. I like the flashiness. I want to see you struggle and fight and win.
Yeah, because it's
Surprise,
charming.
surprise.
Yeah, it's charming to see someone be able to face adversity. Yeah.
One thing that I would say though is that a lot of these contestants, they're saying in their interviews, "Oh, I would throw the competition," or "Oh, I don't want to win the first situation." All this. Another thing that I've kind of been thinking is, pre-game interviews are pre-game interviews, right? I think that the second they get out there on the stage and Julie Chen announces, "Hey guys, we're going into the first comp tonight," I think they're going to forget all about those little pre-game interviews and they're going to go all in for it because that's the nature of the game. You want
especially
to
with a no
competition,
especially with a no twist, and they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, I hope that Isaiah can keep to this no showmancing. I hope Alyssa and Claire want to get out the strong competitors and can come together and get not only more people of color to the end, but more women as well. I have a double stake in this.
Right. I think one thing that was interesting that Claire said in her paper interview, not paper, her ET interview, I think it was that it's not just about finding a group of women, but she wants to find, a duo and try to write it off that way, which I think is super smart. As long as that's the thing with duos in games is you have to be smart about it. Like you can be a duo, you could be a public duo or a secret duo, but you have to do it smartly. So that's the only thing I'm worried about is that the fact that she has so much experience in the LRG community and she knows that we're watching. She wants to make us proud. She knows we're all super fans. And so I'm afraid that she might do some things that are for the feeds or for the fans and not for Claire's game.
Okay, so since you two know her, JT and TJ, out of the cast so far, what you know, who do you think would be Claire's best option of reaching out to? Who do you think would fit her personality?
So I actually have a possible alliance I would like to see of her, Azah, Hannah, and Derek X. I honestly think just reading Derek X, he seems a little cerebral, and kind of like he's kind of watching, and that's kind of, you don't think it necessarily by looking at Claire, but that's Claire, and I think they would really make a dynamic duo right there. And I think, again, she has a very similar, kind of her answers and her similar thing to what Hannah and Azah are saying. So I feel like that four would be amazing together if they actually can work together.
Yeah, one of those people or the person I was hoping that she would, get her duo with, and that was Azah. I definitely could see the two of them, just crossing paths in the storage room really quick. We don't even need to have a full conversation. We can talk tonight in the showers when everyone is asleep and plan our game. But during the day, no one needs to even know anything. I could definitely see like a Jason and Danielle like secret alliance thing going on there where no one really knows. Claire has has her thing with the other girly girls. Azah has her thing with the black girl magic. Let's make it go to the end. I could definitely see like them using their two worlds to come together to have like a killer alliance. I definitely could see that happening.
Interesting. Yeah. So I know there's only 30 minutes left till the show starts and we all have things to do. So one final question. If you guys had to pick your final three right now, who would you say would be final three in the end? I'm going to say Alyssa, Azah, and Claire. That would be my trio.
I'm going to say Claire, Azah, and Derek F.
I'm going to say Claire, Sarah, and Derek F as well.
I'm gonna pick Alyssa, Kylan, and Whitney.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna
I could definitely see Whitney pulling like definitely like a Janelle type game without Janelle's attitude. Like very like I have my person. I'm going to do what it takes to get myself and my person to the end. I'm playing for my kids. This needs to get done. Do whatever it takes to win. Lie, cheat, backstab. I'm going to vote you out right now. I'll see you at finale night and we can drink champagne together. Like that very kind of attitude, you know?
And who are your three, TJ?
Derek X, Claire, and Azah.
Was Azah on everyone's list?
She was on everything but Alex's, and Bossy switched her out for Kylan.
Got it.
Oh, we can
I traded her for
Azah
Tiffany because I really like Tiffany. I kind of want an older person in the end, so I'm torn right now. But hopefully, let's send Claire those good jujus, and maybe after a couple rounds, we can regroup this group and give our opinion on Claire still being there and what our predictions were like.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Do you guys want to talk about first boot predictions, or should we talk about it some other time?
I'm gonna say first boot is going to be Frenchie, and I don't know why.
I'm gonna say first boot is either gonna be Frenchie or Xavier, and I do know why. I think Frenchie is just. I'm just looking at the cast, and Frenchie is a clear outlier for reasons that we've already talked about earlier. Unless Frenchie ends up on a team with like Whitney and Azah and like Derek F, like people that he can find like a little bit of something with, I don't think that he has much of a chance. And then as far as Xavier, he just seems so arrogant. Everything that comes out of his mouth, it's like when you ask like the president of the United States what's their biggest like accomplishment, and they're like, having my kids. No, dude, it's becoming the president. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll agree with you. I agree with you.
You know, like he seems like he's trying to like be arrogant without being arrogant, you know? So I definitely could see that being a huge problem because this group of people seem like they're here to play the game and that they want to play with people that are like that are on the same mental level. And Xavier just seems a little out there, not necessarily in a bad way, but in a very like, like I don't need like these people don't seem like they want like gorilla chest thumpers in the game, like BB19 cast did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My first boot. All right, I'm gonna tell you two things. I'm gonna tell you who I think it could be, and then I'm gonna tell you who I hope it is, but it probably won't be. Right? All right. People who I think it will be is probably kind of exactly what JT said. Frenchie and Derek, Frenchie and
Xavier.
Xavier, yeah. I could also see Derek X going on the outs a little bit, but the person who, and no offense to this person, of course, I'm sure he's a nice guy, right? But the person who I think should get voted out first is Brent Champagne or Christian. You know, I think those guys are definitely going to come in as kind of alpha male type people, and I don't want to see them go far.
Right. Let's say like Brett Champagne.
Yeah, like
okay, so I'm not gonna say Xavier first because I feel like they're not gonna want to do nothing like any other season when the person of color goes home first. So ignore any other season, and not because of that, I would have said Xavier with y'all. But this time I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say either Brent or Travis is who I want to see gone. But who I think it's going to be, I think it might be Derek F because of the team twist and Frenchie. Or Frenchie.
Yeah, poor Frenchie.
I think I would say Frenchie, or I'm going to say it. None of you have said it. I'm going to say possibly Sarah. I know that
You know, I
sounds
was
crazy.
thinking
Oh,
her
yes,
too, but
yes,
nobody's
Sarah,
really
I'm
too,
kind of
yeah.
sorry.
based
I'm
on
sorry.
her.
If you are trying to be a floater and actively saying it, that could be bad because, like, I feel like just with all these different connections, she might not meld as well as she thinks. I think she's just assuming, hey, if I kind of play to the background, I'll be fine. They're not going to touch me, won't see me as a threat, which could be possible depending on what people want to get out, because you do have a couple alpha males. Possibly you have some people who could be, big voices in the house, but I don't know. I get a feeling that could be a very bad omen for her this season.
Do
If
we
she's doing that.
do we know how many weeks the team twist is gonna last?
I don't believe we do.
It doesn't go to the end though. It's not to the
Because
end. I know
I
that.
think if it only lasts like 4 or 5 weeks, I think that's long enough for Sarah to realize that the floating thing's not going to cut it. And
Possibly.
because I think if she had 4 or 5 weeks of regular Big Brother with some other random twist, she'd be able to kind of set herself up. Because you can't float like the first 3 weeks of the game, and you can't float like the last half of the game. There's like a sweet
You
spot in
can't
the
put
middle.
over the team.
Right. So I
So
think
the team's going to be dependent on you.
exactly. So I think with the team's thing set in place, she's going to have to make some decisions.
The one thing I will say, the more I'm thinking about it, and I'm probably going to be totally wrong, Alyssa wants to win the first HOH. You have to be very careful about how much you want to win it, because if you misplay things too early, people might see that as you're playing too hard, too fast. So I think she'll be fine, but she just has to make sure, somebody like that, you always worry that they're kind of come out of the gate swinging, and people don't want that necessarily, to think. But with the team twist, honestly, she probably would, as long as she's, kind of in it, I think she'll be fine. But that's just something I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. I think going back to what you kind of said a minute ago about Sarah, I think that she I want to see her go far because I think she's a likable person. She has a good personality and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you cannot play this game sitting in the back seat. Or just start this game at least. You can play it later on, sitting in the back seat and let everybody else do the driving for you. But first, you got to start the car, right?
The only other thing too is
Go ahead,
I was going to say,
TJ.
Brittany being a kindergarten teacher, I know Susan said it, could be a positive, but it also could be a negative depending on how people perceive her. Because sometimes people see Bubbly as being fake.
Yes, that's right. Because she definitely comes across annoyance and.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It could be seen as being fake or kind of just wow. She's just kind of annoying.
Some of
She's
her
kind of
TikToks are a little chaotic. So
yeah. So honestly, with this crew, depending on kind of how she plays it, we could also see her being in danger quick, because kindergarten, it takes a special person after considering I teach high school, but she's one to watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a good it's gonna be a bloodbath. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be
because these women are out for blood.
I think you got alpha women, which is what you want to see for once.
Yeah.
They're gonna cut the heads off the alpha males.
Yeah, these are women who are like, oh, so y'all have a 3-male alliance and you want to pull in us 2 girls as numbers so you can cut us at 6 and 7? Guess what?
Well, I really hope the season plays
happen.
out like that. I hope that these women do make moves and get off those alpha male and just play a different season for once.
And I think that's
something that's not expected, or we're like, oh.
And I think that's why Derek X might do well, because he's not.
Yeah,
he
and I
doesn't
think
seem like an alpha male.
There's a good balance of people that apply versus recruits versus super fans. Like there's a nice balance this time, rather than it being flipped one side or the other, how it usually is. So because and the numbers went up a little because we switched out a recruit for a super fan. So that helped the numbers go a little more in. I think that Big Brother definitely needs to go in the Survivor's direction. Because if Jeff had his way, every member of every tribe would be a super fan that has seen every single episode of the show. you know, but that doesn't always make good TV. But I definitely think Big Brother should start heading in that direction and definitely putting more super fans in the game.
Yeah, if Jeff had
Agree.
his way, I'd be a cast already, but you know.
Right?
I'm with you there, Alex. I'm with you. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up. It'll be starting soon. Hopefully, everybody, what they said, they'll stick to it. We'll be screaming later like, yay, we got this. Again, I'd like to regroup in a couple rounds and see where our predictions went. Hopefully, Claire will still be there. Don't forget to watch the live feeds. I do believe they're starting tonight with the show. I read that for once correctly. They are starting tonight after the okay. Because usually they don't. Usually we have to wait a couple days, which you know, we're all crazy.
I think they are, yeah.
I think it's only like an hour tonight.
Yeah.
Because we're waiting for the show to air in LA, and that's it.
Yeah. So it should be a good season. And we'll shamelessly plug, if you guys don't watch Australian Survivor, that also starts at the end of the month. Get on that because July 18th, the big day.
And Survivor South Africa is currently ongoing.
Nice.
Yeah. And if you guys get time on the Live Reality page, Survival Challenge started tonight, and we have some online gamers there that we should be rooting for, like Holly and Jamie Boots. So if you guys are bored after Big Brother, need some content, click into that and root for them. Thank you guys for being with us here tonight so much. We really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Go enjoy Big Brother.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much.
Bye, guys. Nice meeting y'all.
You too.
Nice to meet you. Oh.